Welcome to the No Limits podcast with your host, Willy.
All right, we're back. No Limits with Willy, episode number 21. I have my buddy Jules on from hometown Louisiana. How's it going,
How's
Jules?
it going? Good. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's good to have you on. We've been talking about it for a while, getting you on here. It's just our schedules haven't worked out, but we finally got it done, and we're here.
Yeah, let's get to it.
So how's it going down there, man? Is it hot as shit or what?
As always, miserable. Yeah. Louisiana's very, very hot, and with the hurricane that passed through, of course, the humidity's through the roof, so it's suffocating as usual.
Yeah. Our weather over here in Colorado, just north of Denver, has been really strange. It was hot for a while, 80s, 90s, and then the last couple of days it's been snowing, so it's really.
Oh, wow. 90s to snowing. That's a big difference.
Yeah, we had a 47-degree drop just in one night recently, which was nuts, man. That is nuts.
Thing.
Yeah. So
I guess the world's coming to the end. Oh, well.
Yeah, it is coming to an end. I took all my reptiles in my little reptile sanctuary in the backyard and got them all in the garage.
Yeah, I see that, all that stuff you post. I like reptiles, but don't like to touch them.
Yeah, well, that's cool. As long as you're not killing them, man, like everybody else.
No, I don't kill animals.
Man, speaking of that hurricane, I've seen some stuff in Lake Charles and I'm sure it's around the coastline everywhere. A ton of fish got wiped out from that storm. Was it Laura?
Well, I mean, as usual, every time a hurricane comes through on the coast, I mean, the ecosystem gets mutilated, know, so it's always something messing up the system. If it's not a natural disaster, it's some goddamn oil tanker or something leaking and screwing shit up. I'm still finicky about eating shrimp out of the Gulf because It's just so toxic. Yeah. Actually, I took my kids to a SeaWorld, kind of like a mini SeaWorld in Mississippi, and all their staff members are marine biologists that are in school. And she told me, she's like, yeah, I eat some fish, but not too much seafood, because if you would know what I know, you wouldn't eat it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know the Biloxi area is kind of like a butthole into the Gulf. I've heard.
Yeah, I mean,
bacteria.
It's getting to the point where we just effed up there. So, I mean, just going to have to deal with it now.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll make our immune system stronger eating all that garbage.
We'll find out. I don't know. People dropping dead like flies nowadays.
Yeah. So you and I don't think I ever got to train together in jiu-jitsu. I trained
with
John Jordan. I'd come to Gladiators, and I'd end up crawling out the back door after I've tapped out 100 times. But
that's everybody, man.
I never had the pleasure to train with you, man.
No, and I've met a few people that have said the same thing, and it's just, it kind of comes and goes. When Gladiators first opened, the school you're referring to, it was pretty easy to kind of get to know everyone because all the classes were in the afternoons back to back. But then, through time, like everything, a school evolves and there's more classes and this and that. And once I retired from fighting, and got a different style of job where I work at the fire department. My wife really doesn't want me training in the afternoons that much. And your vast majority, just like going to, say, a fitness gym, most people can work out in afternoons. So I miss a lot of people, and I don't get to really kind of create that relationship. And now, especially as a coach, I don't like that because I like to be real personal with all the members. And just people in general in jiu-jitsu, because we share all the same struggles, and it's nice to talk to someone and help them out if there's any way that they're struggling, because you never know when someone's on the fence about quitting. I don't ever want to see anyone quit because it's amazing what it can do for your life.
Yeah, for sure. And you were on the UFC Ultimate Fighter at one point too, didn't you?
Yeah, I was on Ultimate Fighter season 8.
Season 8?
Right after Tim Crater. Tim Crater was on season 7. I was on season 8. And actually, Christian Fulgrim, another Bellator fighter out of Gladiators, he was actually on season 9. And then his kidneys shut down, so he didn't make the fight. So he couldn't fight to get on the show. But he was one of their top candidates. And between me and Tim, vouching for him as much as we could, it's not like we're Dan Henderson, like they're just going to get a free ride. But I think he had seriously like a pound to go, and he just for like an hour, he wasn't sweating. Like it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
They medically had to just take him out. That was it.
Wow.
So we had a few people go. I'm sorry, say again.
Isn't Christian a good coach too? MMA coach?
Oh man, he's an awesome MMA coach. He's awesome MMA coach. You can always tell because their guys got a good wrestling background.
Yeah. Wasn't he?
Yeah, he found Danger up in Shreveport before he came to Lafayette. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen Christian a lot at seminars and different little rolling get-togethers, but I've never trained with him either. He's so much higher than I am. But yeah,
man, he's an awesome wrestler. Awesome wrestler.
Awesome,
he used to coach wrestling in high school too. I think maybe JUCO college too. He was a bounty hunter. You want to talk to him? He's got some cool stories.
Was he really a bounty hunter?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Wow. Yeah,
I'm not gonna give away any of his good stories. I'll let him tell them to you.
Yeah, that sounds fun. How long was your UFC stint for? Or MMA professional career?
I'm trying to think how long it went afterwards. I only made one fight with them. I had to sign a 12-fight contract. So, I mean, that was like, woohoo, look at me, I'm cool. But after my loss to Elliot Marshall, I stayed on for a couple of months. And then eventually they just finally emailed me and then told me that they were going to let me go. And that simply just get on like a 4-win or 5-win streak. I probably still have the email saved like a retard. And just call us back. We'll give you another shot. Once you're in there, you can get back in fairly quick because you're marketable at that time. Yeah, if you've never been there, now that's a problem. That's the hardest. It's just getting your foot through the door. Even if you lose, I mean, unless you just get murdered. Even losing, like if you can somehow get something going because they know your name, you've already been there, there's a possibility of getting back in. There's always a possibility, but I mean, it's not easy, but there's always a possibility. So it wasn't that long afterwards. I made the biggest mistake, which I tell all fighters, especially who make it to the UFC or anything high, is that if you think you're unprepared or if you lost a fight, contact them right away. Tell them, thank you for everything. I appreciate the opportunity. I would appreciate another opportunity, but I would like to train more. I think that I have what you want, but at the same time, I know personally I need a little bit more development. So I'm under contract. I can't fight for anyone else. Just don't cut me. Let me train. And then a couple months later, you can work out a time frame. It could be 4 months, 6 months, whatever. Go back and then showcase your skills, what you've got. I know a couple of guys that have done that. And of course, I found that out after I was cut. And that would have made the biggest difference because I have no problem. I could have sat there and not fought for a year because the more I fought, the more I become more of a smart fighter, smart trainer. And so if someone would have told me, hey, you're just not good enough right now, but man, just give us a couple months. And that would have made a world of difference for me because at that time I wasn't even training with Tim and them. Like when I got back from the UFC, that's when my coach combined his skill set with Tim and they opened Gladiators. And that's when we started pulling fighters from everywhere, and then that was like a real wake up call. Now, what people don't know is when I actually fought Elliot Marshall, I did train at Gladiators, but I broke my fibula. So 1 month, I think, into getting the contract fight, I broke my fibula and no longer could train. So I couldn't grapple. I could barely do anything. I was off my feet for, 2-3 weeks. And then eventually, I kind of made a homemade cast and I would just train boxing because I knew that my stand-up at that point was worse than my ground game. Now, I was going against a goddamn world champion black belt. So, I was screwed either way if I hit the ground. So I just figured, well, if I could keep it standing, that would be probably my avenue to the win. Or if I could just have a 3-round war, if I lost, it would showcase skill and heart, and I would be able to stay in. So I had a lot of issues training for that fight. And back then we were very chaotic. We were all sanctioned. Dustin was trying to get into the UFC himself, so he was fighting for other organizations. Tim was fighting for the UFC. So everyone was very selfish in a way to where we were just focused on ourselves. It wasn't a school about helping everybody else grow. We were just kind of getting together and training.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly fine. That's just the way it was. So I think that if I would have just took that advice or heard that advice after my fight and told them, listen, don't cut me. Just give me a year to get my shit together. I'm at a new camp. I'm at a new school. Let me learn and get my system straight, understand how I move and what my game is, and then give me another chance. And then from there, if you don't like what you see, win or lose, then you can let me go. So that's an advice I'll always give to fighters is, listen, if you got a bad run, contact them right away and just be honest with them. Because, they're not losing any money on you if you're contracted. It doesn't matter. You just don't fight. So there's no skin off their balls. They don't care, So it gives you an opportunity to just at least not lose that contract. And at least you're there knowing that you've got a fight at the end of that tunnel with the best organization or one of the top organizations. And here's your time to better yourself.
That makes sense. So how do you think you would have fared with your MMA career if you would have been around like one of these super camps that are around nowadays?
Well,
because it's like a different animal now.
It's both. It's obviously both ways. You're always going to say yes because to me, a real fighter always has that mentality of just the way I was wired. It's the way I was born. It's just in my head, like I could have done well. Now, training with people like Anderson Silva and some of these guys that are just like on another level, it was kind of a wake-up call, obviously. But at the same time, though, especially like before I had like a family with kids and things like that, I devoted everything. My marriage was on the brink of falling apart. I would train all the time. I would train hurt, sick, broken, stitches in my face. It did not matter. I was always willing to go to the limit and beyond that limit. I suffer still a lot of head issues because of that. I've had gazillion concussions I lost track of. I would train concussed, train with concussions all the time, messed up. And I did not care because that's what it takes to be the best. And I wanted to be the best. I didn't want to be number 2. I don't want to be shit number 3rd. I want to be the best. And if I wasn't the best, I wanted to cripple you and destroy you in the process. So I was willing to do whatever I could. I think what killed me actually more than anything in my career was definitely I fought safe. I would try to fight so smart that I would hold back. And I should have just fought more like I was in my early career where I was just a caged up animal and just, go loose because if I don't hurt him, he's going to hurt me type of thing. That's another thing I'll pass on to other fighters. But I think I would have had a really good run. I'll be honest with you, being a champion, it's just not like watching TV. Like when you're in the ring with them, it's just like, holy shit. Like, man, they're like really good. Like it don't make sense sometimes. But
I believe it. I
think I could have made a fairly good, at least name for myself if I just would have taken the time to do things the correct way. Yeah. And I think that's the only thing that allows me to walk around with my head high, which is another thing I preach to a lot of fighters is that you're going to do things wrong and you're going to train wrong and you're going to take the wrong fights. But as long as you honestly are doing it with the intentions that you think that you're doing the right thing, then you can live with that later on. I can live with the fact that I've lost. I can live with the fact that the biggest shows were my worst performances because I honestly did everything I possibly could to be the best I ever was. Was it always the best choices? Well, of course, I can always look back and say, oh, that wasn't probably the wisest choice. But at that time, there was no excuses. I didn't like, well, maybe I shouldn't go to practice, or, oh, yeah, I'm a little tired today. Like it did not matter. It did not matter. A lot of people don't know this because I just don't talk about it much, which is probably why I need to do a podcast like you, as I had a blood disease I didn't know at that time. And so I was sick a lot, really a lot. And that just murdered conditioning and stuff. But I never stopped. Like I would never quit. I would never quit.
See, that's the difference between you guys that are real fighters and guys like me that are just fans, man. I will look for every excuse in the book to not go to practice if I don't feel good and whatever. I'm just a bitch, man.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
You know, I think savages.
I think the problem is that most of the time people like me either make a great coach or a horrible coach, because either I am frustrated because you don't feel the way I feel. Mm-hmm. So I can't communicate with you. Right. Or I understand that I'm a different type of person than this other person. And these people just wire differently, and that's okay. We're all different for a reason, you know? So I like to think I took the second approach, and I really tried to find, not saying you said it was you, but people who may find excuses not to go, mm-hmm. and try to talk to them on a different level, not yell at them or belittle them or even call them out in front of people. I actually had a student just the other day. I noticed that every time we would roll after a couple of rounds, I'd see him sit out and he would watch us for the last 2 or 3 rounds. And then he would leave because class was technically over, and I'll pull him to a side and I'll talk to him and ask him like how things were going. He had any questions, this and that. And I told him that, hey, listen, today I want to make sure that you don't sit down today. You know, I know it's hard. I said, but physically, I think you got it. I said, I think it's more of a mental problem for you. And he's like, yeah, I was tired the other day. And I was like, but you can do it. You can do it. I was like, I don't want to see you sitting down today unless it's time to go. And that's it. And he did. He stayed in the whole time.
That's awesome.
I didn't get a chance to talk to him, so I'll talk to him later, but I think it helped him probably realize that, well, you know what, it's not so bad. Yeah. You know, I was like, look, you're going to get tired. Everybody gets tired, but you got to fight through it. Right. And I'm not going to give away his business, but his job needs the ability to fight through tiredness. He can't take time off if something happens. Yeah. So he needs to get through that mental barrier, you know, and some people like me are just stupid and just like, yo, I don't care. I'll just die, whatever. And then some people are like, oh God, I'm tired. I must go stop and sit down, you know? Yeah.
Guys like you have an unbelievable drive, man. It's impressive and it's inspiring.
Thanks.
I'm sure that guy will appreciate it too after that. I'm sure that night he was like, damn, I'm glad Jules talked to me and got me through that, because now I feel better about myself. Got more confidence. So he'll probably start doing that regularly. That's the best part of the night too. The rolling is fun as hell.
Yeah.
The playground.
You know, you're sitting out on the best part.
So with the fire department stuff, man, when did you get into that, and how did that come into your life after the fight career?
Well, oh damn, I kicked my camera. Let's see. So after I retired, I had the best job in the world, man. I worked at a juvenile detention center. It was a special unit for rehabilitation of actually sex offenders, which was a wake-up call for me because I have like no respect for sex offenders.
Same here.
But these were kids. They were all under 18. I think they were housed between 12 and 18 years old. And if you hit 18, you'd have to go to like jail if you had more of a sentence left. So they would live there in that facility, and they would get psychological training, schooling, and this and that. So I was actually the PE teacher. I was the coach. And I thought it was really interesting because, like I said, I had no self-respect for pedophiles and things like that. But all these kids that were doing these type of things had all been sexually abused. So it was kind of a wake-up call on how I was just repeating the patterns. Yeah. Crazy, man. Crazy stuff. Like just crazy shit that would happen every day. So it was a really cool job where they shut that facility down and moved it to another facility. So that way they wouldn't just have so many open to save money as usual.
Mm-hmm.
So then I went work at a hospital in the wellness center. I did personal training, did rehabilitation work, things like that. And then that hospital decided they were going to start adding on, but to cut costs, they were going to cut other programs. And the only people that were going to have jobs were like managers. Well, I wasn't a manager. So at that point, I was like, oh man, this is ridiculous, you know, and I wanted to be a strength coach. I had so many certs. I really wanted to go to college, but I mean, I put out applications. I had letters of recommendations. I had the stuff, except I didn't have the experience. And what you really need to do was go back and basically coach in high school and work your way up. And doing that was just taking a hit from my pay scale from the hospital. So my old college roommate actually worked for the fire department. And so I went to speak to him, and it was a pretty bad pay cut, but our benefits are really well. So spoke to my wife about it, and we decided, okay, let's do this. This is a career path, you know, what happens? I mean, it's like almost impossible to lose your job at the fire department. I mean, the running joke is if you show up late, you'll lose your job, but you can kill someone by accident in a fire and that'll be okay. Yeah, HR will protect you. But that's basically how I got into the fire department. I needed something that was an ends to the mean. And to me is I never wanted to quit fighting. And I know that was going to stop eventually. So when I started jiu-jitsu, immediately, I mean, after 1 month, I was competing. I just started competing again, nonstop, because I just compete. I can't stop. And told my wife, I was like, okay, I'm done fighting, but you can't ask me to stop doing jiu-jitsu. And so when I found fire department, to her, the benefits were good. To me, the shift change was like, oh, this is awesome. Shift schedule allows me to train. And so that's how I just kept training during the day. And then that's how I switched from night training to day training. And I just kind of stayed ever since, and kind of bucked heads with my head instructor a lot about that. But I mean, it's the only way I can get in the gym, you know, so that's how I became a firefighter. It's funny, you know, I never really thought about that growing up, but I enjoy my job. I like helping people, you know, I like the adrenaline rush and everything, but the God's honest truth is just so that way I can keep training and now as a coach, just keep coaching other people in jiu-jitsu. That's where my real passion lies. I mean, if something had happened and I didn't have my job, I would open a school up. So yeah, that's how I'm at the fire department now.
Nice. Where's your Outperformance Training Academy? Where is that located at?
All right, so that's not a physical location. That is an online service only.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why is because as like anything, like you get older, you want to stop trading time for money. So on my off days, I mean, if you're not training someone, you don't get paid. Okay, so how can I create a residual income? You know, so I started the online business because I have way more people that reach out to me that don't want to work with me one-on-one or don't have the resources. Like they don't have the $30 a session or $50 a session to train, you know, but they'll drop $50 or $100 for a program for that's, I don't know, 6 weeks long or whatever, you know, diets, information, workouts. That's kind of more tailored to them. So I just started thinking like, well, man, maybe I should just start doing it just more as an official online business. And so I created an LLC and everything. And, you know, my app is now available on the App Store and my website's up, but I'm actually in the just before actually we got on, I was working on my computer. I'm in the process of converting my whole entire system into instead of pay for a program, which is like a lot of people do this, they'll put up like this 12-week program and they charge like $100, or they'll charge like $200 and it's 50% off. And it's the same thing over and over. It's a 12-week program and it's a nutrition guideline and it's the same stuff over and over. And it's just regurgitated as the greatest new program. And then like, you know, 2 years later, they'll just come out with something else. And and I understand it's business. Okay. I do understand that. But at the same time, they'll tell you like in the same sentence, they'll say, well, no 12-week program is going to change your life. But yet their 12-week program is $200. So I just decided, well, you know what? Screw it. I got a job. I don't need to like try to pinch out everybody's pennies from them. So I'm converting everything into a monthly charge. So I'll probably go with $15 a month, and you get access to all my nutritional macro plans, pretty much exactly how I do it unless we work one-on-one. You have access to all my workouts that are there. There's probably, I mean, I've got so many of them. Every day I've got to work and implement them because it takes time to put them into the system. I can put them in PDFs, and that's not a big deal. So I'll start dropping in like PDFs and stuff. But I've probably got like 5 years worth of workouts already in there. Wow. So you would go in, you would get your membership. I'll teach you how to either lose weight, gain weight, maintain weight. I'll show you the exact calculators I use. I'll give you all the macro plans you can just kind of pick from. And I mean, now it's detailed, but it's still a basic rundown, but it tells you how to take care of yourself unless you want to work with someone one-on-one. And then you just simply just go to the workout page, and I'll have it listed like basically your beginners. And this would be your best option if you were to follow them in a row, because you're not sure maybe what program to do next. I'll give you all that laid out. Now you can jump around and pick whatever one you want. But if you wanted to, you could probably simply just start from the beginning. It would take you 5 years before you would even finish the programs I have in there now. And so I'll have like a fitness section and a body comp section. And then I'm going to start getting like probably like a kick-ass section where it's just kind of like a jack of all trades. There's just a lot of jumps and a lot of throws and just not so traditional weightlifting stuff. Yeah. And then I will have a section that are like be specifically for like grapplers and probably fighters and stuff. I'm in the works with a couple of gyms on maybe testing out some of my programs. And there might be a grapplers program that I may actually sell, which would be the only thing separate. And that would be like probably like a $500 course that basically goes to coaches for their gym. They would just, everything would be laid out for them. I mean, this is what you do on these days. Really cool. And here's like 20 something workouts to pick from on this day. And I would give you like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And when phase 3 is done, you would simply just start back over in phase 1 because everyone can't stay in phase 3. And that's getting real technical, but that's just the basic lay down of like how it works. So that would probably be done more by seminars. I would travel, do a seminar, probably do a grappling seminar on top of it, and then do like a seminar, all-day seminar on actually teaching the coaches the movements and why it works. This is how you do it. So that way, it's just basically a plug-and-play system for them.
Yeah, that sounds really good. What is your typical customer right now? What type of person is it? Is it somebody who's a previous athlete, current athlete, or just your run-of-the-mill?
The vast majority of them are grapplers, competitive grapplers.
Really?
Yeah. Because I've pushed myself to that direction on purpose. Now, once my app is converted over to a membership base and not program based, but I'll probably start doing more like live Zoom calls like this, or like live Facebook feeds where I actually do like almost like a 20-minute seminar that anyone can pop onto, and I'll pick like a topic.
Yeah, that's a good
and
idea.
As usual, most of the time it's either in the fitness world, it's either weight loss, and in athletes, it's performance. And so I'll pick like one little nitpick topic, and I'll just talk about that for like 10, 20 minutes, maybe answer some Q&A afterwards for a short 5 minutes or so. And then just kind of leave it as there. And that way, if you're interested in any of my stuff or my programs or whatever, you just obviously click on the link and you can go to that and you can kind of see what it's all about. And then I'll start doing master classes. Master classes will be 10 people only. It's best served for you if you are locally, but we'll pick like a certain thing where it's most of the time it's like a weight loss thing, but it's basically just an overall fitness thing. But we'll do we'll teach you how to cook, and we'll have live cooking events, and you can come to the cooking events. We'll teach you how to meal prep. We'll teach you how to section your foods out and how to go. We'll go to grocery stores and teach you how to shop, where to shop, how to read the labels, how they trick you, this and that. and really just kind of get down to the nitty gritty stuff. So that, and there'll be like, you know, constant weekly Zoom calls to where it'll be Q&A, checking in on people, things that you would normally get from like a one-on-one training, but it'll be basically a master class for probably 16 weeks long.
Yeah.
Only for those 10 people. And it's completely shut off from the public. And then once we're done, I'll do like, you know, 1 or 2 of those a year.
That sounds really good, man. I could see that working well. Doing like a live.
I got a lot of stuff in the works. I got podcasts coming up. I've got strengths. I got a strength symposium I'm trying to get together with a couple of colleagues around here, where it's like $100 a ticket. You come for the day, and you'll just get mind fucked with information that you've never thought of about health, fitness, performance, whatever. There's a lot of stuff coming up. I got some strength games I want to do. Got a lot of all kinds. There's always stuff I got to do. There's always stuff I want to do.
Yeah. What are you thinking about with the podcasts? What are you going to be doing?
Well, I think the podcast, I'm going to call it most likely Training for Life. And it's going to be obviously more relatable to fitness in general. And I'll answer a lot of those basic fitness questions. But it's going to have, since it's Training for Life, it's going to be a lot of stuff that's just about falling in love with the process of bettering yourself. I think the problem is that, let's just use jiu-jitsu as an example. That people think that like the black belt is what makes you so good, and it doesn't. It's the process that gets you there. But you got to be in love with that process. And so it's no different from, say, bodybuilder. The bodybuilder thinks like he's going to go on stage, and if he wins the championship, everything's going to be like hunky-dory. It's not, you know, but it's the process that they fell in love with, to deal with the failures, to deal with the issues, to get them to that point. And that's no different from anything. It's kind of like when I speak to a couple of kids in high school, I spoke to some football teams, and I was explaining to them that, look, honestly, no one cares or is going to remember if you won the football championship. Like, no one cares. Right. You know, no one even cares if you lose. They care right now, but 20 years from now, no one's going to know who you are or know what you're even talking about. But the process that you learned and the lessons you learned through the process of working hard and always showing up and giving it everything you've got, those are the things that are going to create the characteristics of your moral character that are going to show up later on in life. Those are the things that are important. You see, the key, Willie, is that when I said earlier that I can walk around with my head held high, because I know deep down inside, I truly did do everything I could to possibly be the best I can be. I may not make the right choices, but I know I did what I thought was best for me at that time. So that allows me to walk around with my head high. When people go through life and you start seeing drug issues, drinking issues, spousal abuse, things like that, it's because they're trying to compensate for a hole they have inside. That hole was dug somewhere in the back during your time of just doing nothing, or you're half-assing it. And so now you didn't accomplish the things that you want in life, but it's not the accomplishment that you're really regretting. It's the fact that you didn't give out any effort. You know, you really, truly didn't work towards that goal. So now those things are beginning to eat you up, and you don't even understand that, most of these people. So they manifest themselves into anger issues or drinking issues and this and that. So when I speak to that football team, I'm telling them, like, listen, I want you to win. Everybody wants you to win. And if you win, great. And if you lose, great, because no one's going to care 20 years from now. But they will see the man you are from the process of you learning through the hardship of working towards that goal. And it's amazing how sometimes a lot of these kids, like once high school is done, they don't do anything else that's really challenging as far as sport-wise, you know. So this is their chance to really develop that character within, of working towards a certain goal and meeting constant failure and learning to not give up and keep pushing forward.
Yeah, that's well said, dude. That was really good. I'd like to make a little clip of that, but it was too much. But we'll just give a little sneak peek when we do it. That was awesome. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, this is always something that confused me. I always forget to ask my cop buddies and firefighter buddies. What's the rivalry between cops and the firefighters? Where does that come from?
Man,
is it just peacocking? What is it?
It's real in big cities. I know that. But I think that's because they don't do it now in Lafayette and Louisiana as much. But like in the 80s and early 90s, when no one cared about hurting people's feelings,
mm-hmm.
you always had like the baseball team versus fire baseball versus police baseball. You know, it's just bragging rights, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw the TV show Rescue Me. Theirs was like hockey. And it is up there, like in New York and those cold places, you know, they play like hockey against each other. So it's just basically bragging rights, you know. I'm sure there's some shit where they hate each other, you know, everybody hates each other, but you know, we have to work together all the time, you know. And they always pick on us and we always pick on them and this and that. But, you know, when it comes down to it, you know, we both need each other at certain scenes, you know. So, yeah, it's just typical boy. It's just bragging rights about who's the best and this and that. But,
gotcha.
You know, it's more relevant definitely in some bigger cities, you know. It's almost, you know, it's become tradition to hate each other almost in a way, you know.
Wow. That's weird. There's always some kind of aspect of that team tribal thing and everything in life. It seems like it can go all the way down from.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to be part of a tribe. You always want to be part of a cult, you know. And if you're part of it, you want yours to be the best. I mean, that's just natural human nature, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to be part of the losers.
Yeah. Like it can be all the way in a country, all the way down to just a street, just one part of the street. One side of the street's one way, the other side the other way. It's crazy.
How gangs are. That's how gangs get started.
I know. It's nuts, man. Something in our DNA that we have to rival with each other. I want to go into the 6 questions with you, and then I want to ask you a couple of things about conspiracies, because word on the street is you like them. And
I like conspiracies because they're
connected. All right. Number 1. What movie can you watch over and over without ever getting tired of?
Karate Kid, Over the Top, any Rocky movie.
I haven't heard anybody mention Over the Top in a long time. That's a good movie.
That's because they're soft. Over the Top's one of the best movies ever.
Yeah, that movie's awesome.
It's one of the most well-written, shit-talking movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, you got to get around to get stronger.
Oh, dude. The bad guys in there, just classic lines. We got some guys on the mat that are older in the mornings, and they're all familiar with the movie, and we'll just mouth off these lines to each other 24/7 while rolling.
That's awesome.
It's pretty funny because Over the Top is arm wrestling, so they're always talking about ripping someone's arm off. So it goes well with jiu-jitsu. So we're always yelling those things back and forth. But you know, I love the TV show Cobra Kai. I broke down and finally let my kids watch it, which I probably shouldn't, but I don't care. It's so good. I want them to see the lessons learned. But I mean, Karate Kid is what started it for me. You know, I was in 3rd grade or 4th grade when that came out. And I woke up a Sunday morning and my dad said, your mom taped something for you last night. She's surprised. Like, okay, so I'll go get the VCR tape, man. I go put the VCR tape in.
Rewind it.
You know, I'm like, I'm checking this out. I'm like, okay, what's this? And all of a sudden the title comes up. I'm like, I'll flip out. And when I saw that movie, I don't know how many times I watched, but that Monday, I joined karate.
Wow.
Monday, I was in karate. And it just so happened to have a karate school in Crowley, Louisiana at the time, which was like the only one. And it was like that old school karate. Like, you know, parents couldn't stay and watch most of the time. If we had belt ceremonies, you couldn't stay. They would beat the shit out of us for kids, for God's sakes. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. But, you know, parents, you know, like now, like, I don't know if I'd like leave my kids somewhere unless I really know them because they're so weirdo now. But
yeah.
Like back then, I was like, they would hit us with sticks. Man, I'd go to school with bruises all over me and stuff like that. And just, it was awesome. I loved it, man. And see,
Karate
then that's when my love for fighting began, because then they had it was called man. Now I'm drawing a blank. Louisiana something. My head doesn't work good anymore. But I was ranked #1 in fighting and #1 in kata, back and forth, pretty much the whole stint. And it was just,
That's awesome.
It was awesome. And we'd go to Orlando and compete. Like we would go all over the place. And so actually, when I saw the UFC in high school, I was like, to me, it wasn't a bloody sport or nothing like that. And I was just like, this is awesome. And that's a whole nother story. But I saw it as an art. I didn't see it as like some, brutal match or anything like that.
Yeah.
So Karate Kid for sure. Like I still watch it. Like my son watches it. I still watch it all the time. I don't care.
Yeah, those are great movies, man. I have to introduce my wife to the Over the Top. She has never seen that.
Terminator 1. Terminator 1's a pretty good one. I'll always watch Terminator 1.
You like Terminator 1 over Terminator 2?
Yes, Terminator 2 is soft.
What? Oh, you're right. Yeah, compared to 1. 1 was a little bit.
Okay, because Arnold is no longer like his normal self. And in 1, I mean, he is psychotic.
Yeah.
Like, there's no expression. I mean, it's just kill. There's like expressions in 2. Like they did it on purpose to sell the movie.
Yeah, and to make him
I didn't like
more
that.
Likable.
I don't want that. I want the creepiness. I really wish Rob Zombie would redo Terminator. It would probably be the best you've ever seen. It'd probably be the best you've ever seen. I used to be a Forrest Gump fan, but now I'm getting into politics. But I don't like Tom Hanks anymore because of his touching kids. So
I know, I'm right there with you, man. It's we'll come to that in a minute, but Jesus, that's a hard one. I grew up.
I was like, wait,
Tom
what?
Hanks, and then that's
dude, I watched everything he's done. He's kind of like Denzel Washington. Like I'm gonna watch it no matter what. Like it's fantastic movies. But
used to watch Big on repeat when we were kids, man. That was
And I've been actually waiting to watch Big with my kids, and now I'm just like, touches kids, whatever.
Yeah, man. It's a dark world we live in. We're finding out it's darker than we realized.
Yeah.
So the Cobra Kai series, I'm pretty sure I saw the first. I think I seen the second season too. There's 3 seasons out now.
The third one hasn't come out. It was supposed to come out, but COVID messed it up. And then Netflix just bought it out from YouTube, and they just released it. That's how I let my kids start watching it. So I'm assuming they're just kind of building up steam to release 3.
Yeah, when I
think it's done, as far as I understand.
Okay. When I first started watching the first season, I was like, man, this is super clever how they came up with this. They picked it back up, and you kind of see in the perspective of the bad guy, the bully. It was done so well.
It's pretty well written.
Yeah, it's such a great.
A lot of people are like, oh, man, it's kind of cheesy. I'm like, well, if you don't know Karate Kid, it's supposed to be cheesy, but
it's perfect. They do a great job.
It's so well written through the history of the movies. There's rumors that Terry Silver and Mike Barnes are now coming back for the third one.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool.
Because Johnny's splitting from John Kreese because of everything that happened in season 2. So there's possibilities that now they're saying that Terry may be coming in. What?
I said spoiler alert.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Everybody needs to catch up. All right, number 2. What's the best practical joke that you've played on someone or that has been played on you? And I'm sure there's a bunch with your lifestyle.
Man, there is. Like I've done some pretty messed up stuff, but on a positive note, the best one played on me was from my girlfriend, which is my wife now. It was my 30th birthday, and I threw a surprise party for her. And my birthday is on the 16th of August. Hers is on the 13th of August. And so we celebrated, I think, on the same weekend. So like a lot of times, like if mine's on a Saturday, we'll celebrate hers on a Friday or something like that. So I surprised her, picked her up in a limo. My friend had a limo, this and that. He bought a limo, I know. And, I got all her friends over to go eat, and, we're like, oh, big surprise, blah, blah, blah. Well, that next Saturday, the very next day of the Saturday, we were supposed to be going to her friend's wedding engagement party.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like no, it's an engagement party. It was like the announcement, whatever people do. I don't know. So they had a theme, and she got me into. She's like, "Man, what would be like a great theme?" I was like, "I don't know," you know. And everybody knows I'm infatuated with the '80s. So I'm like, "What '80s party?" So they had an '80s party. It's been on her refrigerator for like a month or something, you know. And she got me good. She's like, "Well, we got to go to Crowley." I'm like, "Why do I go to Crowley? They're from Lafayette." She's like, all the halls have been rented for some reason, and like they got to do it on this weekend, or it doesn't match up with the other dates. And I'm just like, whatever. Typical me at the time. I'm training, so I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I don't care as long as I can go train. So I got all dressed up, this and that, drove all the way over there, and when I opened the door, it was a surprise party for my birthday, and my mom, and like she'd found like my old friends from high school. Now my wife is 8 years younger than me, so she did not know me in my wild days. My past girlfriends knew my crazy side and all my crazy friends, but she didn't. So this was back when MySpace was around. So she somehow found a way to get a hold of all those people and get them all over there. And I mean, it was a really good birthday. Even my grandpa was there. It was like probably one of the last times I got to really spend time with him. And it was a really good practical joke in a good way, you know?
Yeah, that's really cool. But was it 80s themed?
Oh, it was 80s. Yeah, everybody was decked out.
So
and I mean,
like
my friends that she invited are like massive 80s fans too. So like, it was just like, we were trying to outdo each other with costumes without even knowing. So yeah, you know, speaking of Karate Kid and 80s themes, we had a Halloween party one year, and I went as Daniel LaRusso dressed as a shower. And it was not an 80s theme. I just decided that was my costume. And I was just walking down the street to the bars in a shower curtain around me. And they were like, "What the hell?" And someone yelled out, "Daniel LaRusso."
You better get that picture.
Oh, and another thing to show you how much I like Karate Kid is my homecoming senior year, where everyone gets dressed up in nice ties and this and that and sports jackets. Well, my friend and I, we decided we're going to go to homecoming. We go to the bathroom and get dressed as skeletons and paint our face and run around and start kicking everybody, yelling, "Where in the hell's Daniel LaRusso?" And we stayed like that like all night, probably till the sun came up, drunk.
That's good shit. All right, number 3. If you could time travel one time there and back, which time period would you choose?
The 80s.
Right back to the 80s.
The 80s.
What would you do?
Man, it'd be hard to say, man. 1986 was a massive year. 1985 was a crazy year. Like, it's insane the amount of movies that came out in 1985. I think like Platoon, Terminator, Karate Kid, Footloose, Top Gun.
Footloose was 84.
Was it 84?
That's my year, so yeah, I'm claiming it. I thought it was.
Might be. Just such a crazy time.
Yeah.
That'd be the time I like to go for, like, good times and have fun. As an adult and as a father, I would like to go back all the way to the time where Jesus lived, if I could see Jesus, hang out with him, you know, and just kind of like, just be around him, just learn, just watch, see how he was, this and that.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe in Jesus, but even if people don't believe in Jesus as like a God or anything like that, he's already made such a substantial mark on history as being one of the greatest people. It'd be nice just to learn from him in general.
Can you imagine being
impressive.
in his presence? How intense that would be, man? That would be nuts.
Oh God, dude, I'd be crazy, like nervous, like crazy nervous. But
that's not something you can't compare to anything else. It's crazy.
No, I'd probably get killed for hanging around with him like everybody else. But if I could time travel, I would like to time travel back to when Bill and Ted time traveled, and then time travel with them in the phone booth.
Oh,
I would like to do that.
Part 3's coming.
Yeah, I know. Man, don't look too good.
Yeah, it looks a
That'd
little
be worse than part 2, though.
Yeah, a little straight to VHS kind of a look going on there. Number 4, what is something that really irritates you?
Weakness. I don't like people's weakness.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I don't like being soft. I don't like whininess. I don't have a problem
I don't
with
like whining either, man. That's the worst.
you admitting that you can't do something, or you're unable to do something, or you failed. That's not a problem. I have a problem with not trying or making excuses, for everything, this and that. That I don't put up with. Like, so it's like something I stress really, really hard to my boys. They no whining. Just tell me straight up. It doesn't bother me. If you whine, you'll just aggravate me. You'll make the situation way worse.
So parent to parent, man, how do you get your kids to not whine? My little girls are the biggest whine. Well, one of them is the whiniest kid I've ever met in my life, man, and it drives my wife and I nuts. And it's like we just struggle constantly to undo it.
Well, I started from a younger age, and let's say the whininess is more, their voice changes. Mm-hmm. And I would just talk to them softly and I would stop whining, talk to me normal. That's what I say. And then like they have to, and if I tell them, okay, well, fine, take a deep breath, whatever. Stop talking to me. If you can't talk to me without whining, go in your room. And when you're ready to talk, come back out. My kids don't like lay on the floor and pitch a fit. I don't even let my boys sit there and like slouch or like,
yeah, that's important.
Kind of tilt their head or nothing like that. Like I'll always say, like, stand up straight. If you're going to talk to me, you stand up straight and you look at me in the face.
Yeah, that's awesome. They'll appreciate that when they get older for sure.
And I don't do it in an ugly way. And I'm sure sometimes it comes out ugly when I'm mad, but I try to reiterate to them on how important it is. So for instance, that happened last night with my wife, and my youngest has slouched his shoulders, and he's got a habit of doing that. And so calmly, I just said, stand up straight. And he made a look. I said, don't you make a look on your face, or you're going to go to bed now. And so then after my wife talked to him, I said, listen, remember, we want people to respect us. And now he loves like the Incredible Hulk, and he's kind of like wired like me. He likes all about strong strength. He loves fighting. And so I said, you want people to respect you. You don't want people to don't believe in you or run over you, White. Do you want people to think you're weak? And he looked at me and said, no, sir. I said, okay. So you tell me if I look weak or if I look strong. And I would just hunch my shoulders and look at him. And then I would poke my chest out and stand up straight. And then he was like, you look strong. I was like, okay. And then earn your respect. Show people that you're strong. Don't make them think that you're weak.
Yeah.
And so it connects with them. I mean, of course, you got to say it over and over, but eventually it connects. They don't whine or they don't slouch, or they'll see other kids in the store like pitch a fit and just never stop pitching a fit. Or I don't know, do something silly and like fall on the floor or something like that. And they'll even say like, man, well, that kid's bad. And I'll just tell them straight up. I was like, no, that kid's not bad. I said, they have bad parents.
Yeah.
They just
kids need
you can't put up with that. I said, I tell them, I said, y'all do the same thing. I said, y'all do the same thing. And if I would let y'all do it, y'all would just keep doing it. And that's all that's going on. I said, but kind of like that old saying, God doesn't make junk,
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Number 5, what is an item in your home that is special to you for sentimental reasons?
Not very sentimental. It's hard.
Come on, man. Your house is on fire. You got to grab something. What is it?
My kids.
Well, your kids already made it to the front yard.
I know. Well, back to Karate Kid. My mom did buy me a Karate Kid blanket. I would definitely want to get that out the house.
You had it when you were a kid? Or she bought it for you for your 30th?
I've only had it for like a year. But still, that's how important it is to me. I mean, I wouldn't run back into the house for this. That's a good way to put it. But there's a wooden spoon that my mom gave me for Christmas when I was, 25 or something. And it has the burn marks of where I even left it. I remember sitting on the burner when I would cook with her and stuff like that. And she taught me how to cook growing up. And I just remember those memories of being with her. And so even my kids know that that's like my favorite spoon. So I use that a lot to cook and things like that. And they know that hopefully it doesn't break, and then I'll give it to them because my youngest likes to cook a lot. So that's something that has like, sentimental value to me.
That's a good one, man. What's it made out of? Is it a wooden?
It's just a plain old school wooden spoon. You can tell it's very old. I think it's actually her mom's wooden spoon.
Oh, wow.
So it came from her mom's house somehow, or she gave it to her. I don't even know actually the story now. But now it's mine and I'm going to pass it on to them. But it just, even having those burn marks reminds me of those memories that I had. And, those things are important to me.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's special.
There's certain things I keep. I mean, I got baseball cards. I actually don't collect baseball cards, but I got baseball cards and football cards that, like, from when my cousin died, they gave them to me. So now they mean more to me than anything amount of money.
Wow, yeah, for sure.
Because we were really close, like brothers. So when I lost him, that was like a devastating loss to me. So that was rough. That was a lot of drinking during that time.
Yeah. You didn't collect cards when you were younger?
No, I collect garbage pail kids.
Really?
Yeah, I had like almost 400 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. I went back to my mom's house when we were cleaning out the house when she was moving, and I know I never gave them away. I don't know. I think someone stole them.
Wow.
I'm still pretty upset.
Yeah, I bet that's a lot.
Yeah. I didn't really collect a lot of cards. I don't know. I didn't really get into it. I don't know. I mean, now I wish I would have,
Yeah.
but I do have some cards. I have some pretty good cards that, like, I bought throughout time just to see for shits and giggles. Like, let's see how much it's going to be worth in 30 years.
Yeah.
I just bought actually a graded 3 or a graded 4 level Lyle Alzado rookie card. He used to play for the Raiders.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that name. What era was that?
That was 1976. I think it's his first year, but the 77 card I think is more. He played for St. Louis first, maybe, or the Browns, and then he went to the Raiders. He was crazy. He was awesome. I love him. You should watch the documentary on him. There's documentaries on ESPN on Lyle Alzado, but you can see them all on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
But him and I relate very, very well to him. So, like, I used to love him growing up because he was crazy. He was like one of the most insane guys. He was just insane. But then once I learned, like, his story of his life and his childhood and stuff like that, there's a lot of things I could relate to that made me realize, like, probably why I was so drawn to him.
Yeah. Is your mother still with us?
Yes, my mom is still with me.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that spoon thing, man, that's cool. That'd be the one to grab. Number 6, last question. What accomplishment are you most proud of?
Being a father. Being a father because my father was not a father.
Oh, really? You didn't have much of a father figure?
I wouldn't call him a father figure.
Not in your life at all?
No, he was in my life. He was better when he wasn't in my life, but
really?
Yeah.
It's not
as bad as like it sounds, but just I learned my life lessons how to be a father by simply just doing opposite of what my dad did.
Yeah. Man, you're the kind of guy that I talked about this on Truth or Theory before too, that I just admire so much because I was very lucky. I grew up with very good parents. They're still together. They're 40 something, almost 50 years together. And
that's awesome.
I have friends that are like you that didn't have fathers. They all go different ways. You can easily go the bad route with it, or you can make the best of it and do what you're doing. You can tell you're a great father, a good husband, and you are just a good and strong individual. And it's so awesome to see a boy grow up without that kind of a leadership and then still do it on his own. That's just like one of the best qualities I think a man can have. So
yeah, thanks, man. It was a rough road. I had to learn a lot of lessons on my own.
Yeah, I can't imagine. My life was hard with strong parents, man. So I have so much respect for guys like you and ladies, same thing, that grew up without a mother or a father. It's just, that's got to be so hard.
Yeah, to me, it must be hard for a woman to grow up without a mother, because when you don't have that one specific figure, you just don't have the guidance. And my mom did a great job. She really did a good job. But
that's another thing.
I mean, she's not a man. She's just not a man. And she can't pay attention to every knickknack thing there is.
Right.
I'll probably teach lessons to my boys that they're 10 years too soon, but I'm trying to do everything I can to make their life as easy as possible through teaching them, not by giving them. I'm trying to give them all the life lessons now.
That's awesome, man.
In case something happens to me. In case something happens to me while I'm at work. I mean, I don't know when the damn roof's going to collapse on me.
Right. Any day could be your last. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. Your kids are lucky to have you as a father, and it's so cool that you took the right road and you went through all that hard. No telling what shit you've gone through in your life, but to make all the right decisions you made to become who you are now and not follow your father's example is very commendable. And cheers, buddy. I appreciate that.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. It's just never giving up. That's all it is.
Yeah. Well,
just believing in yourself and never giving up.
Yeah.
What's the conspiracy? What we got?
Let's go down the rabbit hole for a second. I want to get you on Truth or Theory podcast. We talked about it before we went on the air. We'll get you on soon. What are some of your biggest conspiracy ones that you can look at and you're like, there's no way that's what they're telling us. It's got to be complete bullshit. As far as
bullshit as in it really is real, like what they're saying is lying?
Yeah, as far as let's say 9/11. I don't believe 9/11 happened the way it's painted out to happen. And I'm pretty convinced.
Man, I'm real back and forth on that one. I'm really, really back and forth because I truly believe that the government will do anything they want to get their agenda done.
Mm-hmm.
I find it hard that they would kill so many people so rapidly in that way. There's so many other ways they could have just done it. I mean, they could have just simply said, whatever, we're just going to go to war. A lot of people say they use that as the reason to stimulate the war. But I mean, it's the government. Who cares? They've already showed you, look at the Obamacare. Everyone said they didn't want it, and they've socialized and gave it to us anyway. So, if they want to go to war, just, okay, well, we're going to go to war because blah, blah, blah happened, I saw some pretty good, scientific studies shown on, the way it showed it below on each, where it looks like its charge is going off.
Right.
That it was, the heat or the way the compact, because the way the vibrations were, it was blowing out all the bolts,
Mm-hmm.
But then you got the one where it shows the plane passed through the building.
Yeah.
There's I don't even understand that one. There's really no reasoning for that one.
Yeah. And then
there's no smoke and mirrors. There's no oh, well, yeah, if you take the video at this angle, it'll make it look like that. No, it doesn't. It's just that passed through the building. That don't make sense. So I'm on the fence. I find it hard to believe, but don't get me wrong. If you proved it to me, oh yeah, okay. You got me, you sold me.
What's one for you that you believe for sure is?
Oh, aliens.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too.
Aliens for sure, man. I don't even get what's the point of even hiding it now? I can understand, I guess at the time they were so worried because of the Cold War, or you don't want some other foreign technology better than what we are, and we have no way of defending ourselves. But I mean, it's just to the point where let's just say there's 10,000 reports of abductees and only 100 are real. It's still 100 people that were abducted. It's still real. It doesn't matter if there's 1 out of 10,000.
Yeah.
Now let's just look at it from a plain common sense standpoint. So you're trying to tell me that we are the only living organisms in the entire universe, even though we don't know barely anything about the universe. But we're the only thing living in the whole entire universe. How's that possible?
And then a lot of people, oceans completely discovered yet.
Yes,
the universe.
And they say oh well, this part of the ocean's dead or whatever. No, it's not. We just never been there. And every time we go down to a new port, we find all these new things.
Right.
You know, like, oh, well, there's no other human beings. You know, they can't breathe air. That does not, just because you don't breathe air does not mean you're not living.
Right.
You know?
Is that an emergency call?
I don't know yet. Hold on.
All right.
I'd have to turn my phone off to find out for sure. I've got to write down my coordinates just in case. If it is, I'll just click off.
That's cool. Jules is on the scene, working as a fireman. This is live.
Oh, I was close. I passed. I missed it.
Okay.
Normally when it's engine 7, we're going with them, but nope. We made it.
Wow.
No apartment number given.
They'll stop talking.
Can you hear me okay with it?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. We'll just keep going.
Yeah, so, I mean, aliens to me is the biggest one. You know, we've seen the crash testings and this and that. My uncle just recently died, and he used to work for the Air Force, and he worked there for, I mean, I don't even know how many years, and we were never allowed to go see him at work. Like, no one can visit him ever. He was an Air Force base, supposedly, where he made jet engines, but yet no one could ever go there. And this was down in West Palm Beach. And he would laugh. He's like, oh, no, you can't come see us. Like, they did back then. This was like 1996. They had retinal scans back then. That's how he would get into work. And when the last time I saw him when my grandma died, before he was kind of like, he was starting to kind of lose it, he just kind of giggled one day and he said, y'all haven't seen nothing yet. And so there's a lot of rumors that that Air Force base had worked with a lot of technology that basically, like, we'd got from, like, say, Roswell crashes and other crashes maybe around the world that we've coincided with. And so there's just so much stuff they've been using, like, you know, things like the iPhone and stuff like that. They've been using that for a long time. You know, it's just wasn't released publicly, you know?
Right.
There's, man, the government. It'd be fun to work for the government. It's got so much shit going on.
I'm pretty sure it would be kind of like the Men in Black thing where you'd have to get rid of a lot of your regular life if you were that deep.
Oh, yeah, sure.
They're not going to let you spill that information out to dumbasses like me on a podcast.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think of some other conspiracies that are, like, really worth talking about. I mean, I don't believe in flat Earth.
You don't believe in flat Earth?
No.
Yeah, I don't think I do either. We just did a big flat Earth swap cast yesterday, which is going to release this Monday coming up with 5 other podcasts. And yeah, it was one guy who's an expert on it. He has his own flat Earth podcast. There's a lot of interesting points that he made that I didn't know about, but I just still can't wrap my mind around it. I'm kind of on the same train basically as Pat Miletich. Pat Miletich says that it's basically just a distraction for guys that are into this kind of shit, truth seeking, to get us to look another way when it doesn't even really matter. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely it's true. I mean, you always got your conversions. Yeah, they always got you looking somewhere else so they can do something else, you know.
Right.
You know, I got a friend of mine who's, I don't want to say he's big into conspiracies. Okay, yes, he is. But he's real big into that the COVID thing is, I find this example a little hard to swallow, but that Trump and them are actually pushing it so that way they can take down all the pedophile rings behind closed doors. Because if it actually was in the media, the shitstorm would be so bad that it wouldn't actually happen, because you've got like the British Empire, you got like Rome, and I mean, like a lot of people are like really in there deep. You know, it's not like the Epstein Island. Like a lot of people keep thinking about like this Epstein Island and stuff like that. But you've got is it Prince Harry and Meghan? They're married?
Yeah, I get torn up on the sons, the Prince.
We'll just say it's Prince Harry. So Harry and Meghan left the royal family.
Yeah.
Rumor from him is that because the British, like their dad and the Queen and all them, they're under scrutiny and they know what's going on, and so they're trying to break away because they have nothing to do with it. Well, they're known to supposedly, with popes and other religious figures over there in Europe, and people over here in America, they were taking kids, and not only were they like scaring them for adrenochrome and stuff like that, but they were chasing them and killing them. Like they're having like real hunting games with them.
Yeah.
And so it's like all coming out, and like the only way you can really take down these people is if basically the spotlight is not on it, because almost like if it was on it, like it wouldn't happen for whatever reason. Now, why would you do Corona to push it away? I don't know. But I do know that
some of that stuff sounds pretty accurate though.
Yeah. I mean, some of it is pretty accurate. I don't know the girl's name, but Epstein's girlfriend,
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Man, when they just released her, like her files, like, was it like a month ago now?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see like the amount of people who were arrested the next day?
Yeah.
Like we're talking like major leaders, like Democrats, senators, and like 8 or 6 people, like serious sex trafficking charges, but not a single thing you've even heard in the media. Not a single thing.
Yep. And there's
these are like not no-name people. These are real people.
There's a ton of kids getting recovered right now too from sex trafficking. Like the numbers are really high in different locations throughout the United States, and there's way too much things going on to be a coincidence. There's definitely some big sting operation going on, whether it's related to COVID or not. That's to be determined. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that one. But I feel the same way. You can't have too many coincidences. Like it's just something's happened for a reason. Like you know, it's not a conspiracy. You know. Yeah. But
let's
some people are blinded,
and get you to come on Truth or Theory so we can go deep down the rabbit hole. Because I don't want to go too far on that in this podcast, but we'd love to do it on the other one. Where can my mom find you and support you, man?
Well, you can find me most of the time basically on Instagram and Facebook. I'm mainly under the Outperform Training Academy handle. Okay. At Outperform TA. And anytime you go to that YouTube or Facebook, inside the bio, the link to my website is there. I just recently changed draw a blank again. Changed the name of the web page. So now it's back to like just Jules Bruchez, something Wix, whatever the thing is. But I got to pay for another domain. That's it, domain. I got to pay for another domain. I want to go with a different company that was cheaper for more years. But you can find all my information there as far as for training and questions on diet and anything else like that. Soon I'll probably be starting a personal page on Instagram, just like I have like on Facebook, just so I can begin to separate myself from business type of stuff, because people are always asking me like, well, what's going on in this and that, and I kind of really don't say anything. I almost don't even put stuff on Facebook that much, because like I just don't care, because I'm so busy with business oriented stuff that if you're not relevant now on social media, they basically algorithmically block you out, so people don't see your stuff, so
it's all a game.
I need to create more pages to stay more relevant. Like I hate Twitter. I think it's the stupidest thing. So I'm about to get a Twitter account, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm not on Twitter.
Snapchat. They're like, man, you should get on Snapchat. Absolutely not. I'm giving you a message for 24 hours. That makes no sense.
I know.
And they're like, we should get on TikTok. I'm not doing TikTok. That's for kids. That makes me no money. I don't want to do TikTok.
Yeah.
So.
My buddy got.
But yeah, Outperform Training Academy, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. You get all my information there. YouTube has a lot of longer videos.
Cool. I'm going to put all your links in there so people can get to them easy as well. My buddy got me to get on Snapchat for like a week, and then I just could not understand the function of it, so I just started sending him pictures through text message, and I texted him and say, I just sent you a snap. He's like, that's not a snap. What's the difference? What is the
same thing? It's a picture. At least now that the one I sent you have it for good.
Yeah, just delete it when you want to, man. Fuck. Yeah. All right, cool, man. Thanks for coming on, Jules. It's good to get to talk with you. I'm looking forward to having you on Truth or Theory. And everybody check out Outperformance Training Academy.
All right, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Willie.
No problem, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye.